Now, from the Gee and Ursula Show, a rare appearance from Ursula Reutin.
Good morning.
Good
Doesn't
morning.
have to be rare. We can kick G to the curb anytime to see our queen.
Jeez, ruthless.
Oh,
Well, Ursula deserves ruthlessness. She's the queen.
So let's talk about the latest freeze-up by Mitch McConnell. I've actually seen this happen to somebody before. When I was in the 7th grade, our science teacher, we were doing a unit on comets, and he walked up to the blackboard, he wrote the words, "dirty stars," put the chalk down, then just stood there and looked at us. And we thought it was part of the, just some kind of, comedy routine.
Wow,
or
what a
psych
memory.
out.
But-
Okay, who's going to talk first?
Yeah, exactly. But no, he eventually recovered. But I mean, he was a younger man.
Yeah.
So
did you find out what it was
Never.
eventually?
The speculation was that he hadn't taken his insulin or something
Okay,
like
so
that.
like a diabetic
Yeah, right.
sort of
Shock.
seizure. So the unfortunate thing is that there are people who find either humor or cruelty as the response to something like this. And I'm of the belief, if we can all get old, we are lucky.
Yeah.
Right? So when I saw that yesterday, and this one was even longer than the first episode.
Yeah, I
it's like
watched the
another
video.
10 additional seconds from the first one. I think when you don't control the narrative, others are going to control it for you. And I think it would serve him well to just explain, like maybe not everyone knows that he had a concussion earlier this year. I mean, he's an 81-year-old man who had a very severe concussion.
Yeah.
Anyone who's had a concussion or multiple concussions knows you can have the effects of that. But if you try to pretend like, oh, nothing's wrong. Apparently he was on the phone right afterward and was trying to reassure everybody that everything's okay. Everyone saw that.
Yeah.
And it's not just something that is unique to Mitch McConnell. We're seeing that with Dianne Feinstein as well, who's 90 years old. She's had her health issues. It's like at some point you have to realize some things are out of your control, and it's okay to, I think transparency is needed. I think it hurts not to be transparent about it.
Yeah, but you know what's going on. They can't afford to lose those votes.
I know, with Dianne Feinstein as well,
Yeah.
right? And at some point you have to say, forget about the party politics. It's like, what is good for the country? Also, the people around him, if Mitch McConnell cannot recognize it himself, or if Dianne Feinstein can't recognize it herself, people around them need to recognize, you know what, you're no longer fit to be in this office, and make plans for what comes after that.
It's because of the balance in the Senate. So what would have to happen would be for the aides to, one's a Democrat, one's a Republican.
Exactly.
A deal that they would both resign at the same time or something like that.
That's it's so yucky to me though that it's about power and not about dignity. And I know this is politics, and that sounds very Pollyanna.
Well,
and
these
all
are
that
not minor
stuff,
issues, though. There's some pretty big issues at stake, which the Senate controls completely now.
Yes, but we're also setting example for the rest of the country in how we treat the elderly. And we treat the elderly like dirt. We treat them like throwaways, and we treat them and the more we treat Dianne Feinstein and Mitch McConnell like a weekend at Bernie's in the Capitol, the more it sends a signal to the rest of the country that we can treat the elderly this way, that they're puppets, and they don't deserve the dignity that they've worked for.
Well, I'm pretty sure that McConnell and Feinstein are going to get top-level care. They're not going to be...
They're not getting it right now
something to
by
nurse
having
them.
their health issues put on display.
I think conversely, others are going to say, wait a minute, you're treating the elderly as if it is something that is such a negative, that they aren't capable. Like someone at 80, two different people who are 80 years old can be very different in terms of their capabilities, their acuity, all that kind of stuff. But clearly something is happening to Mitch McConnell, and clearly something is happening to Dianne Feinstein. And I know Joe Biden gets brought up a lot. I am of the majority of Americans that feel like, you know what, I don't think it's a great idea for him to run again. I do worry about the next 4 years. So have a plan.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing about politics. It's not like normal life.
Yeah,
There's a lot at stake.
I know.
And we hope he has a plan, but he's not going to announce it if he does. That's the whole
And
thing.
that part I understand.
You're not going to announce that. So
Yeah.
there may be one. I'm kind of assuming there is one, but you're not going to hear about it.
Yes. Well, and I don't think you're going to hear about it in the case of Mitch McConnell, who's so the question where he froze was, are you going to be running again? Clearly,
That triggered something.
that triggered something.
Of course, yeah. Look for an offstage deal. That's what I'm thinking.
Who do you think comes to power, Dave?
No idea.
Okay. Yeah, you do.
Ursula
We just are
Reutin.
out of time. That's why you're not
Gee and
saying it.
Ursula. My
Thank
job
you.
is to keep us on time.
No, it's not. Your
Yes, it
job
is.
is to give us your brilliant commentary,
No,
Dave
it's
Ross.
not.